national anthem. That was a country that's a little confused on who they were, what they were, and all of a sudden she gets out in her sweatpants and busted it out.
Still the best version.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
oh yeah.
I do know about that. I have watched that. I have seen that national anthem before.
I know
Yeah,
it's
it's
not that you
incredible.
haven't seen the national anthem. It's living in that moment where you know that your country has just gone to war, and every
Yes.
time, it was
Yes.
very inspirational.
It was very inspirational. It still is every time I watch it.
Absolutely. Only time that song has ever made it onto the top 40 list.
Yep. Yep.
And it's done it twice. They re-released it 20 years later, and it still went way up the
Yeah,
charts.
it was awesome. The other one we've been talking about was the Philly Special that beat New
Right,
England.
right.
That was a cool play.
Fourth down.
Absolutely.
That was
Yep.
a fourth down, wasn't
Fourth
it?
down there. Threw back to Carson Wentz, and that who it was? Wasn't he
Foles.
the quarterback?
Foles.
It was
Oh,
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. That's right.
Super
yeah.
Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Nick Foles.
Yeah, that's cool. All right.
Can't find a job now, but can't take that ring
He's
away.
stealing off the Philly
He got
Special.
a statue? He does have a
Yeah,
statue.
they do have a statue outside of Philadelphia.
They have a statue of
Yeah.
Nick Foles?
Yeah, absolutely. Catching the Philly Special.
Wow.
Hey, it's a Super Bowl.
It's a
you're
Super Bowl,
You're
yeah.
going to build a trophy. Make it a good one.
All right. Well, let's get into some Modern Image time.
Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Go Dogs.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right. All right. So, we talked about all the past Super Bowls, but you know what? We got another big one coming up this week. What is it going to take for the Philadelphia Eagles to win? Sean, we missed you on the commercial. Have you got anything to say?
I think if they score more points than the Chiefs, bold prediction, they win.
I like that.
Sean's last name is Copernicus, in case you didn't hear his
Sean Copernicus.
scoring edge. Whoever edges out with the most points
We'll win the Super Bowl.
host
I don't believe
the
it.
trophy.
I don't know how
That's
you
a
go wrong
bold
with that.
take.
It
That's-
is.
My mentor, John Madden.
All right. Well, number one, Jalen Hurts has to play well, right?
He does. He does. He has not played great since the injury, and he's definitely going to have to be a little better.
We threw, 4 touchdowns against the Giants, but
Giants don't count.
Giants don't count. Okay. All right.
The first time against the Giants, he looked awful when they had all their bench players in, and the last game against the Niners didn't look real impressive there either.
Well, we talked about that. That really wasn't much of a game once Brock Purdy got hurt.
It
and was
wasn't,
gone.
so they didn't have to do it. You're right.
They didn't have to do anything once Purdy was out. So I don't know. To Sean's point, they do have to score more points, and they've got some weapons. In the backfield and wide receiver Devontae Smith, and
I would say probably the second best 1-2 punch in wide receiver behind Chase and T. Higgins.
yep, might be.
And I think coming back from the injury, looking ahead to the Super Bowl, I think they were, protecting him, or he was protecting himself.
Sure.
There's somebody's going to get in his ear and just say, just play ball, just ball out. I mean, if this
That's it.
if this thing separates, you've got all off season. I mean, go win this thing, and I think he's got to show them that he's going to run. I think if he runs early, then they've got to respect that.
I completely agree with you. I think they have to. I think they're going to do everything as defense, Kansas City, to make sure that the run game doesn't lose the game for him. So he's gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
So Jalen's going to have to win it with his legs, not his arm.
Well, he's going to open up his arm with his legs.
Yep, that's true.
Which is true of a lot of the mobile quarterbacks.
Sure.
I mean,
Yep, I mean, they've got a pretty good tight end, and everybody talks about Kelsey, but Dallas Goedert's not a bad tight end either.
yeah.
Very good.
He's
Very
good tight end in Philadelphia. So they got a good receiving core. Where they may lack a little bit is in coverage, but I don't know that somebody from Kansas City is going to have a bust out game other than Kelsey, like Valdez Scantling, or I think McKinnon, or who's the other wide receiver?
Smith Schuster.
Yeah, Smith-Schuster, yeah, because the other one's out.
Hardman.
McCole Hardman's, he's out. Yeah.
Yeah, this team's in the Super Bowl, so it's hard to say, oh, they really miss. But they do really miss Tyreek Hill. You know, the way he could stretch the field, you know, they can throw it. You've seen it a few times this year where Kelsey gets 14 targets, 13 catches, but he only gets 75 yards because there's nothing stretching the field that allows him to run in open space. So, to your point, Chuck, they're gonna need somebody going deep.
It's going to be interesting to see how they use those two running backs. I mentioned McKinnon earlier, local guy.
Pacheco.
Yeah.
My rookie of the year.
Yeah, just, some of these intermediate plays. I mean, they may be able to, find some openings out there.
They're going to come up with something cool like they did the carousel huddle they did a few weeks
Yeah.
ago. That
The
was
snow
really cool.
globe.
Snow globe, that's right. Yeah, that was awesome.
Horribly named, but an awesome play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. It's Andy Reid. It's Philadelphia.
Right.
You know, if this guy's had 5 plays that he's never showed the world, this is the game he's breaking this out in. You know, he really, really, really wants to win this game.
And the Mahomes magic. I mean, just, the magic wand, make sure they wave that over him before he heads out onto the field, and let's see what happens. Spread, I saw the other night, I don't know if it's changed, but it was 1.5. And,
Philly's
Same.
favored by 1.5.
yeah, I think it's going to be Philly a lot more than that.
Yeah, isn't it funny because we have said all year whoever wins the AFC is going to win the Super Bowl, and now
We
we're
started
looking
the
at
year with
totally
that.
different. Yeah,
No, the key is, and I tried to look up this stat for the show to have this conversation, but the Atlanta Falcons aren't very good. I still go in public and
I looked that up.
People like Bill, point at, throw things at me when they see me in the parking lot, but the stat that you have to have for a good defense, they say, is 40 sacks. If you're getting 40 sacks a game, or a season, you're really harassing the other team's quarterback. I don't believe the Falcons have had more than 30 sacks in like the last 7 or 8 years. So it's been really bad. Do you know how many sacks Philadelphia has this year?
75, isn't it?
77.
77 in 19 games.
Are you kidding me?
That's
I mean,
incredible,
this
isn't
is
it?
a team that is like a wrecking, to quote Mick, a wrecking machine. And, Kansas City's going to have to figure that out. Line play has not been their strongest suit.
Yeah, Philadelphia dominated against
Everybody.
against everybody they played,
When
especially
you
from a defensive side.
When you do the math and it comes up as like 4.5 sacks, and then you think, well, on quite a few games they probably only got 2, which means half the games they were getting 7 and 8 sacks. And
And they played in a pretty good division. I mean,
Absolutely.
Dallas was decent. I know Adam wouldn't like that. Washington wasn't bad, and the Giants had a decent year too. So it's not like they won a bad division and got into playoffs. They won.
and yeah, I mean, getting after it's getting after it.
Yep. And we talked all year how we didn't think they were going to get the home field advantage. We thought San Francisco would overtake them, but Philly's done what they had to do to get it done. I don't know. I don't know what else they could have done. Even when Jalen Hurts was out, they didn't need to win the games, but they needed to show they were going to be competitive without him. And they lost 2, I think, in a row.
They
And everybody
did.
jumped off the bandwagon, and now that Jalen Hurts is back and semi-healthy. And, we hadn't talked about Mahomes and his health.
Right.
I mean, his high ankle sprain's still just 2 more weeks, but that's not an easy injury. He hobbled a lot in the last game. You could see him when he had to roll left and throw back right and push off that foot. He hobbled greatly. So having had an high ankle sprain, that's not that easy to heal.
Absolutely. And, you're not really worried about Mahomes running the ball. Yes, he runs here and there occasionally, but, he's definitely not Tom Brady where he looks like a robot and he's constant. Mahomes is always wheeling around. And so, having that high ankle sprain is definitely hurting his cross-field throws.
And not only that, he's a better passer probably when he scrambles than he is when he's in the pocket.
Absolutely.
And that's got to be something that they're concerned about. But again, if Philly has a weakness on defense, it's in their backs. It's not the
It's not the front seven.
It's not the front seven. Yep. So
But, and Sanders has come on strong in the last
Sanders,
few games.
and
yeah.
Gainwell too. Gainwell's
Yeah,
running
right.
the ball.
Gainwell
Scott.
was on fire
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago.
And Boston Scott scored a touchdown in every big game they've played this year. So, I mean, they have a lot of weapons.
Yep.
but it all funnels through Jalen.
It does. All right, so I guess we need to go ahead and make some predictions here.
Well, I think Philly's going to win, and like I said, the 1.5 spread was kind of surprising to me. So I'm going to say it's by 6 or 7.
Roughly, I mean, is this a 27-21 game, or is this a 35-28 game, or just out of curiosity?
I think in the 20s, yeah, something like that.
27-21,
yeah,
something like that.
something like that.
Which, just for the record, if it was 27-21, would be 2 points away from the over-under.
What is it, 50?
I believe it's 50 and a half or something.
Oh,
like that.
really? Yeah.
I'm thinking under. I would take the under.
Well, that's a good thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's tough to say the under when you know the Eagles could score in bunches. They might even get a defensive score if they hit the quarterback enough. And then you're also betting at that point, Mahomes. Mahomes.
You're right.
It's Mahomes, but
Yeah.
I will be rooting for Kansas City big time. But they're going to have more things go their way to win that game on Sunday. The Eagles look really tough. I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I'd probably, if I was forced to bet, it'd be the Eagles, though.
I think I'll take the Chiefs. A lot of the Philadelphia did play really well, but we get in the thing again. Last week they didn't have to play really well to win. They did what they had to win.
Right.
And I think Kansas City will show up. They got a pretty good little pass rush too. They have to keep Jalen
Jones.
Hurts contained. Yeah.
No, they're a good team.
Yeah. And I don't neutral field. If it was in Kansas City, I say Kansas City wins. If it's Philly, I say Philly wins. It's that close of a game. But I see a Butker field goal winning this for the.
Anything that involve a Butker field goal.
I gotta get my jacket in there. So.
Tell me this: I believe the venue does help Kansas City. As opposed to Buffalo's. Wants to be a fast team that has a slow home track.
Buffalo?
I'm just saying Buffalo is a team that's, loves a good dome game, but they don't play that way. Who does playing in perfect weather help more?
I think
Jalen
Kansas City.
or
I think
Mahomes?
Kansas City.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
And that's Phoenix, right?
It is.
So they got the. I was going to say the Phoenix Open, whatever they call it. The
WMI,
the
Waste
Waste
Management Open.
and the Super Bowl. Now in the same city.
What a great week to be in
Yeah.
Phoenix, right? Yeah, it would be cool. I'd love to go to that Waste Management tournament where they everybody cheers on the 16th hole. I think that'd be awesome.
There's a few of those holes.
Throwing beers now. That's the new thing. Buy a beer and throw it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's $9. I don't want to throw a $9.
Oh, you
beer.
throw your water then. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
There you
you
go.
bring a water and throw
Bring
that.
a water just in case. Yeah. So we got 2 Eagles and 1 Chief. It's funny we've come so
I'll be
far.
rooting for you, Chief.
I'll be rooting for you, Chief, too. I know it was like last week I wanted the Chiefs to win, but I thought Cincinnati would win 2 weeks ago. So, the sad thing about this is the last football game we have to talk about for a while, unless we get deep into the USFL.
We're praying we don't get too deep in the
No.
NFL.
Interestingly, the Chiefs and the Eagles have scored the same amount of points this season.
Ah.
So even though it seems like Philadelphia's offense is significantly better, they have relatively the same offense.
Gotcha.
That's a pretty cool stat there.
Yeah.
Again, gives more credibility to my Chiefs pick because if they're even with I think it's the intangibles. I think they've got a good special teams. I think Pacheco's running the ball back now. McCole Hardeman was, right?
Oh, yeah.
Before
Yeah.
he got hurt. And I think Pacheco maybe had a fumble earlier in the year on a muff punt or something. But I don't think there'll be a whole lot of punting in this game. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring football game. I would say even in the 30s. So I would definitely take the over as opposed to the under in this game.
Yeah, I kind of leaning towards the over. What's interesting is who's going to be able to run the ball to start the game. Because, Kansas City would love to get the ground game going. But, if Pachinko goes 2nd and 10, It's 3rd and 9. Okay, well that's getting scrapped. We're not going back to that. But if it can work for a first down to start the game, it could start to roll for Kansas City, and that's probably, I think, really what both teams need.
Well, Edwards-Helaire is back too, right? So he'll help Pacheco.
Another
the
body
running
back there.
Yeah, another money back on the Kansas City side.
He said Gainwell, though. Gainwell's been playing great lately, and
He had some good runs.
we'll
So
see.
it's fun. I like the Super Bowl. The one thing that we haven't talked about the Super Bowl, I don't care who plays at the halftime. I'm not watching the halftime show. I want to go get something to eat at halftime. Let me know when the game starts back. I think music has become too ingrained in football with, the halftime show is so. I don't put a marching band out there from high school. Let them play a couple songs and let's play football.
Well, when they had, the legendary.
Not to downgrade
No,
your
but
thing,
when they
Bill.
had the legendary performers come on, it was exciting.
Sure.
The Stones are going to play and the Springsteen's going to play, and but apparently last year, some people absolutely loved it and thought it was the greatest show, and then other people were like, "What is this?" And so
Who was it last year?
It was a rap.
it was like a medley.
Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige.
It was a lot of people. There was like 5 of them. I was at a Super
Kendrick
Bowl.
Lamar.
I was at a Super Bowl party where I
Somebody
thought
else.
the hostess of the party was dressed like what's her name? Rosie the Riveter from the World War II. It turns out she was doing her best Dr. Dre dress up. And,
wow.
Yeah. I'm with you. I heard also this week they were talking to. I was listening to Sirius XM, and Charlie Weiss was talking, and he said, one of the hardest things to deal with is halftime. He said because a lot of times people say, well, you make halftime adjustments. You don't have time to make halftime adjustments because it takes so long to get in there, and then you might go to the bathroom, get a quick sandwich or something, but then you're coming right back out. During the Super Bowl, you can take your pads off, you can walk around. He said, so it's kind of eerie for some teams that aren't used to it, and we'll see who handles it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your body kind of relaxes a little bit. And now
Absolutely.
you got to, fire it back up.
And the same thing he said applies for pregame, where during a 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff in Week 7, you're out there warming up at 12:30. You run off, you come right back on. That's not the Super Bowl. You're going to leave, and you're going to leave for 45 minutes to an hour while they do all of this other stuff. So it's it's a different game. It's weird that they've changed the parameters for these guys so much on the biggest game.
The biggest.
Is Arizona Pacific time or are they Mountain time?
They
Mountain
are
time.
The Mountain time?
Yes.
Okay.
They get their own time.
Arizona
But they don't
time,
change.
man.
They don't change
half
when
of the
we
state.
change.
Half of
Yeah.
the state does. Half of the state doesn't. It's a weird state. Only Indiana used to be that way. Indiana used to be like Southern Indiana doesn't respond to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Navajo do not change.
Recognize
Yeah, they do not
daylight
change
savings
their-
time.
They're like, you guys are crazy. You took all our land. We are not changing our clocks once a month for
There you go. That's fun. Or once a year even.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
Whichever you want.
All right, let's do a Alvin Jameson commercial and get Alvin's credit going.
Absolutely. Supreme Lending was founded in 1999 with one goal in mind, to improve the mortgage process. And since then, we've been doing just that. Here we deliver exceptional service and some of the fastest turn times in the industry. Our team will stay in touch with you throughout the process and get your home closed quickly and conveniently. Whether you're buying or refinancing, our goal is to have your loan clear to close in 30 days or less so you can focus on all of the things that matter to you the most. Whether it's your first mortgage or your 1,000th, make it a Supreme one. Check us out at alvinjameson.com.
Thank you, Alvin. And David and Blair, all 3 of our sponsors have 5-letter first names. Alvin, Blair, and David.
That's the kind of stuff that I would never know.
Yeah, it just hit me. I don't know why. So 5's our lucky number. But the other girl I'm talking to, she's got more than 5. So she'll break the string, but that's okay. We'll take another sponsor. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you want to sponsor us, please.
If the next sponsor is a female, well, then woman has 5 letters, and that'll work anyway.
Yes, it does. And she is all that.
We'll make it work.
Yep, we'll make it work. All right, so let's get into talking about our fantasy football league. We wrapped it up several weeks ago, obviously, but haven't had the privilege of being in the presence of the two winners. So you guys talk about your league, about your season, and who really won, because you got threw off kilter with the
with the cancellation.
with the
cancellation
cancellation
game.
And
Yeah.
these two guys, both very reputable, both well-respected guys, did the right thing. Tell them about it.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell him about it since he's the one who actually did the right thing. We dominated. We kicked some butt all year long, and we met in the finals. And week one he had about a 50-point lead going into Monday Night Football, which, as most of you know, only lasted about 7 minutes. And I had Chase and Allen, my two best players, played for that canceled game. So I started to use car salesman my text messages with Bill, and asked him, hey, I heard certain people are doubling those scores for week 18. You could do that if you wanted to, and he agreed, and that's what got us to where we are.
So here's my version of it. Looking into the
I'm
playoffs,
glad I'm sitting in the middle.
yeah, I had Jalen Hurts injured, but my team started to fall apart. So going into the playoffs,
Because Hurts got hurt just a couple weeks before the
yeah.
playoffs started.
and so first 2 weeks of the playoffs, I eked it out. I think I had a defense that scored 20 points or something, and then I'm looking and I said, I'm not going to beat Robert in the Super Bowl. His starting lineup was strong. His bench lineup was strong. And so when he sent the email and said, what do you think about this? I was like, he just gifted me, some money, because I don't think I was going to win. I guess if some of the leagues, they just, didn't count that game,
Correct.
which was, unfortunate. But going in, I mean, if it was straight up, I think he would have killed me.
Well, that'd have been a really fun game. We don't know what would have happened on that Monday night, but I think there'd have been some points scored. And but you've never shared our conversation, correct?
No, I
about that. I think this would be a good time. So I just want to let you know that I decided before I ever won and started panhandling to my competitor, who once again graciously, that Chuck the Burge will be making the $1,000 donation to our charity of choice this year.
Wow. Thanks.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Well, you got all this is because of you, brother.
Yeah, that's right.
I love to talk sports, and I do it once a week now, and so
Twice a week.
I get to do it twice. Well, I was going to say one night a week.
Yeah.
But when I told Bill originally, I told him after I won that I was going to do it, and you could tell it softened the blow a little bit. Like, okay, well at least you're letting Chuck get that. So
Well, I appreciate that. We will be making it to helping one guy, as was our original intent, and we will make sure that they get that check here in the near future. We still have a couple of owners that haven't paid, so as soon as we get that $200 in from those two guys, I will cut them a check for $1,000, and I certainly appreciate that.
Absolutely, and hopefully we can we can go somewhere and present it to them as a group, or
Yeah.
while they're in a group at least.
That'd be great.
Well, they actually have their banquet tonight, so
Just missed that one.
missed it by that much. And their banquet's always on Wednesday nights, so we may have to do it at a time outside of their banquet, but I'm sure we can make that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It keeps you engaged during the season. Keeps me yelling at the screen. I'm feed it to Debo. Tyreek. And my wife's walking in the room like, who are you yelling at?
You
And,
hate the Dolphins. Why are you rooting for that guy?
Debo, come on, Debo. And she thought I was saying Tebow. She's like, isn't he retired? No, it's Debo. Man.
T-Bone.
No, fantasy is very awesome, but it does warp your brain just a
does.
little bit. It's like, okay, so I want San Francisco to win, but I don't need McCaffrey to do anything. Okay. Always with a a secondary goal.
There was a game I won, and it was I don't even remember what week it was or the exact scenario, but it was a end of game, junk fumble,
Right.
return for a touchdown, and more points for my defense, and it's like I just need the guy to, intercept the ball or pick up a fumble and score, and then they do.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, if you're on the other end of it, it's like come on.
I know there was a game this year I was playing. The guy had a half a point lead on me, and so I knew that he had to fumble the first play. So he can catch the ball, but that'll be a point and a half that he's ahead by. He can't run too far down the field, and then if he fumbles and gets hurt really bad, then I'll win this by a half a point.
I've seen scenarios where somebody's ahead, they've a point or two ahead, and then they go into, the quarterback takes a knee, and there's a
loss of a
loss,
yard.
and then another knee and another loss of a yard, and
Well, in this particular league, on 2 occasions this year where I had a win with one player to go, I substituted for the person who was on a bye. Like where I signed another defense, it was like, so if my defense really screws up, I lose this game. We'll just put in the defense that isn't playing this week. So, you got to protect what
right,
you got.
yeah.
You got to protect what you got. That's right. All right. Well, I guess we can wrap it up. Is it that time?
It is.
All right. Guys, we've had a good show. Bill, thanks as always for being back.
My pleasure.
And
Yep.
like we said, guys, at the first show, you got to take care of yourselves. I am going through my medical stuff now. Not a lot of fun, but you need to do what you got to do to find out what's wrong with your body and take care of yourselves. So cover your ass, get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week, and we'll go a little bit over the Super Bowl. We're going to get heavy into some NBA history next week. So until then, you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.